And then there were two. The UEFA Champions League final match is set. We now know both teams that will be playing in the finals, of course. Manchester City on one hand, Inter Milan on the other. And we expect it to be, fiery encounter, really tough, match. A lot of people have really looked, hoped that, it will come down to this Pep Guardiola's opportunity to win the Champions League once again. Since, of course, leaving Barcelona. I remember Pep Guardiola has never won the Champions League since, he stopped managing Lionel Messi at Barcelona.
Wow.
A lot of people want to know, what's up really with Pep Guardiola? How is it that he's managing to play, all these great teams? He's managing to coach all these great teams with big budgets, and ever since he left Barcelona, he really hasn't been able to win the Champions League. He came up short against Chelsea, I think 3 years ago, and it's still weird how he hasn't won it. I mean, this is a guy who is like a genius in the sport, right? Everybody expects Pep Guardiola to, win any competition that he gets in. So, I mean, it's been really strange seeing him struggle in the Champions League, semi-final knockouts. He was in the final against Chelsea and all that. It's been really, really, tough for the guy. But this could be an opportunity for him to redeem himself and prove to everybody that, he can win the Champions League without Lionel Messi, of course. It's not like if Lionel Messi suddenly made available to him, he won't take over, because, it's Lionel Messi we are talking about. Inter Milan, on the other hand, 13 years since the last time they came to the UEFA Champions League final, famously won by Jose Mourinho, of course, who also has just qualified for another European final back-to-back.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
He qualified for the Europa League finals after winning the Conference League finals last season. That will be also an interesting one to look out for and see how they play out. West Ham, on the other hand, are going to be playing the European Conference League finals against Fiorentina. That should be a cracker. That should be a very, important game. West Ham, remember, having picked up a silverware and European silverware, I think, in 30 to 40 years. So it will be interesting to see the approach with which they, go towards the game. Players like Declan Rice, who is rumored, of course, to be leaving West Ham to join Arsenal, would want to give his all, seeing that it may be his final football match for the club. I mean, he would want to take that winner's medal, the European Conference League medal, away from West Ham on his way to Arsenal or whichever club he's eventually, going to join. Manchester United, I'm not supposed to call Manchester United. I don't even get any level. Arsenal and Manchester, two of them, Gary clubs. In Inter Milan, there is a lot of, subplots that you are expecting with the match against Man City on the 10th of June at the Atatürk Stadium in Istanbul, Turkey. You have players like Edin Dzeko, who, of course, played for Manchester City, won the league with Manchester City, of course, and is still very much loved at the Etihad. A lot of fans, Manchester City fans really liked the guy. I mean, he was a very good goal scorer. Wasn't really prolific as he should have been, but he's gone on to grow in leaps and bounds, and he's now become, a veteran in the game, and he's done quite well. He's won a lot of, trophies along the way. Played for Roma. Remember, he won the league at Wolfsburg in Germany before, of course, joining Manchester City. There's also the case of Romelu Lukaku, who, of course, is a former Manchester United player, same as Eric Mkhitaryan and Matteo Darmian. These are players who understand what, a game against Manchester City looks like and what it feels like, considering they played in the Manchester derby, in some shape or form. And it's going to be an interesting matchup. Simone Inzaghi has done quite well with his squad in Europe. They've managed to progress to come this far. And Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, what's there to say? The genius of a manager. They've swept a lot of big teams aside, beat Bayern Munich, beat Real Madrid. It doesn't get much difficult than that. And they did it quite comfortably as well. So it will really be interesting to see how Inter Milan cope against the attacking firepower of Man City, to be honest. Personally, I think that Manchester City would carry the day.
Nice.
This is like the most potent version of Guardiola's tactical setup, since, most people have been following him. I think personally that his Barcelona squad of 2009, I don't even see them beating this Manchester City squad. That is how really organized, really effective, really powerful this Manchester City squad is. Inter Milan, on the other hand, are actually a very good side. Romelu Lukaku, Edin Dzeko, those are two top strikers who on their day can hurt teams comfortably. They have good midfielders as well, and they have good defenders, and players like Bastoni at the back, and with a very good goalkeeper as well to boot. So you feel like there's a lot of subplots in the game, but there are a lot of unspoken talents that are in Italian league, and I think the Italian league is enjoying the resurgence. We're seeing a lot of teams get far in European competitions. Juventus obviously heartbreakingly losing to Sevilla in extra time in the second leg of the Europa League final. Sevilla, of course, are now back in the Europa League finals for the 7th time, and it's become like their heritage. It's the prestige of Sevilla to always appear in European competition finals, especially the Europa League. So it's been very, it was very shocking to see, Juventus, lose the game. But Sevilla are also not a weak team. They are no pushovers. So Juventus did quite well, but just wasn't good enough, I'm afraid. We'll see how the game turns out. I believe that Manchester City have what it takes to win the game. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Click like, share, and subscribe our page so you can help us grow. And I would like to hear your comments about who do you think will win the UEFA Champions League on the 10th of June 2023. Love.